Welcome to the second part of this 5-part series. In this series we are looking at how we can use Excel business intelligence tools to easily understand and analyze human resource data. So in this example we're going to be using the pivot table. We're going to be looking at how pivot tables can easily aggregate your data and come up with answers to your questions very quickly. So even though pivot tables have been around for quite a long time, the last 20 years or so, it's really only since Excel 2007 that they've become an easy to use tool. So in this example, we're going to take our human resource master data. We've got about 50 employees in the master data. And we're going to ask several questions of the data. Questions such as how many male, female by gender, how many people by department, how many people by age groupings. As you can see on the screen, there's a number of different questions that we'll be asking. And we're going to finish with putting together an interactive dashboard that we can use. Okay, so we're going to start off with our employee master data here. So here's a spreadsheet of data in a table format that you're probably used to seeing in Excel. So we've got an employee ID, name, we've got the age of the person from the birth date, some classification information such as age, race, marital status, gender, and a length of service also calculated from a hire date, and a department that the person's on. So as we said, there's a number of different questions that we may want to ask of our data. Okay, so we've moved across now into a pivot table. So as you can see that we've got a count of our employee ID over here, and this is our interface that we use to build our reports. So say for instance we want to know how many employees have we got that are male or female. As you can see, we're very much just going to use a drag and drop type of interface here to be able to answer these questions. So we're going to take our gender field and we're going to look at our count of employees, and now it can tell us that we've got 21 female employees and 29 male employees. So very easy to find out what the male-female breakdown is. Say for instance we wanted to know how many people were by marital status. So again we can see 23 people are married and 27 people single. If we want to break this down say by department, we could put our marital status, let's put that into a column, we can see count of the number of people, and now we could use say for instance our department field over here. So now we can see how many people by marital status by department. You may want to see this by gender, for example, so we can just bring across our gender. So as you can see, it becomes very quick and easy for me to be able to take our 50 employees and start to break it down and ask different questions. You may also be interested to know what is the percentage breakdown here. So we got so many females, so many males by department over here, and we got totals. No problem, we can quickly ask a question such as what is the percentage breakdown, and now we have it by percentages. So we can now see that out of the total population of 50 people, 6% are female and work for the finance department. 10% are female and work for the sales department. Overall we have a breakdown of 42% who are female. So very quick and easy to be able to ask these questions. Another question that you may want to ask is to say how many people by age group. So how many people do I have who are 20 to 30 years old or 30 to 40 years old? So again, very easy for us to do. So let's just remove this information. Let's use our age here. So over here you can see that it's grouped it by different ages. So I can see over here that I have 26% of my people are 20 to 29 years old. So again I can remove this calculation over here very easily, and as you can see everything here is a drag and a drop or a right click and a selection. Very easy. And again we can break this down say by gender if we want to see how many people are 20 to 29 years old and female. So 4 people are 20 to 29 years old. Again we could also ask the length of service question. So again if we wanted to see how many people have say worked from 0 to 2 years is 9 people. 3 to 5 years is 13 people, 6 to 9 years 13 people, and again we could see this say by department if we wanted to. So we can see in finance for instance we have 4 people who have worked from 0 to 2 years. So again it's very easy for us to answer these questions. Okay, we've now moved across into a dashboard view. What I've done here is I've just brought together a number of pivot tables. So I've created 4 pivot tables. So I've got a by gender, a by race, by years of service, and a by age group and gender options. And as you can see I've got my 50 employees and it's showing me 50 employees. Now a really nice thing about Excel is the ability to be able to slice and dice our data or filter our data. So over here we've got something called a slicer. So what you'll see now is that as I'm selecting the slicer, say for finance department, now all of these tables now are being filtered. So I can see in total there's 11 people who work for the finance department, 3 females, and here I've got the breakdown by age. So I can see there's 4 males who are 20 to 29 years old. In total there's one person who's over 60 years old, happens to be female. By race we can see different race classifications, or by years of service. So it becomes very easy to be able to ask questions of our data by being able to filter and create interactive dashboards. Thank you for taking the time to watch this session on Excel pivot tables. I hope this has given you an indication of what you can do with your human resource data.